Center. He's going to be starting us off on this presentation. And then we have Roberto here from our loan department. He'll have if you have any loan questions, he can definitely answer those for you. And my name is Pauline. I'm with marketing. I'm the one who puts all this lovely stuff together and is going to go home and go to sleep tonight after it's all said and done because it's over with. But inside your packets is a folder. It has the notes. It has a slides preview on there so you can take notes. It also has a loan rate sheet at the very end. There's some other stuff that's there for Member Auto Center, our dealer books, and the dealer preferred listing, as well as a couple of pins so that you can take notes, and then some other goodies that we just kind of had lying around. Let me know if you don't have a bag. I can get you one. We have some more that are sitting up here. Come on in, find a seat. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Sorry. All right, let me. All right, whenever, let me see if this does work.
Okay.
If you want to use it.
Yeah, I'll use it.
Go ahead.
How's everybody doing this evening? I want to thank you for coming. As Pauline mentioned, thank you, Pauline. My name is Chris Tassoni. I work with a company called Member Auto Center. Just so you know a little bit of background about Member Auto Center. Member Auto Center is a credit union-owned company. So I'm actually owned by several different credit unions. What this means for you tonight is if we can provide you some information to help you get your next car. So I'm going to ask. I like to ask questions because it gets our members involved, and I think it will allow you to learn a few things. So I want to start off with a couple questions. Who in the room plans to buy a car within the next 6 months? Raise your hand. Good. It seems like a silly question, but sometimes people like to come to seminars to grab the knowledge for several years down the line. But it looks like the most of you in here tonight are looking to buy a car here in the near future. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have been to the Harris County website to do your online banking? Raise your hand. So just about everybody, right? Everybody. How many of you know that there's actual website within our Harris County financial website where you can actually do all your car shopping and actually look for cars and get information? Raise your hand. So a few of you. And tonight, what we're going to show you is how to actually use our website within the website to pretty much be a one-stop shop for everything auto. I think you're going to really learn some good things. And even if it's one little fact that you take away from tonight that saves you $1,000 or $500, then it was worth your time, right? Think of it as $500 an hour. So let's get started. Who can tell me? Now don't cheat because I think you have some of the slides. So, but who can tell me how a dealership makes its money? What are the three main departments a dealership makes its money? Any ideas?
Advertisement.
Well, they spend money advertising, but how do they bring in money? Financing. So we're going to say the finance department, okay? But we're going to come back to that. What's the other two ways a dealership makes its money? Parts, service and parts. So service and parts is a big revenue generator from the dealership. The more cars they sell, the odds are you're going to bring the car back and get service on it. But excluding service and parts tonight, we're going to talk about the other two ways. And we've already talked about the finance department. What's the other department? Sales department, right? Sales department. So now we move on to the slide, and I know we'll have a little bit of a delay as we go through here. But service and parts, sales and finance. And I think it's important to understand this, because when you walk into a car dealership, you'll understand the different people that you talk to, and you'll understand the structure and where they're coming with some of the things that they're going to tell you. But how does a salesperson make its money? I mean, how do the salespeople make their money? Commission, right? So if Pauline is my salesperson at the dealership, does it matter to Pauline how I pay for that car? You say no. Why do you say that?
It probably meant that you use y'all, the lenders at the dealership because the finance will be good.
But to the salesperson, does it matter? Salesperson doesn't matter, right? And we'll get into what you just said with the finance people. But salesperson doesn't matter. All they care about is that you're able to purchase the car, right? Because Pauline gets paid as long as I can buy it, okay? So it really doesn't matter to Pauline if I finance through Harris County Credit Union, theoretically speaking, Harris County Credit Union, Bank of America, or I just pay cash. She's still going to make her money, right? Okay. And we talked about how a general salesperson, obviously gets paid. But how about finance now? How do finance people make their money? Interest rate. So let me explain what happens. The general structure of a dealership, and I'm talking general structure of a large dealership, your AutoNations, any franchise store, like Chevrolets, Hondas, anytime you walk into the major dealers, you're going to first work with a salesperson, right? You're going to agree to the car you want to buy, and then you're eventually going to go sit in the finance office, okay? Once you've agreed basically to buy the car, theoretically the salesperson is done and they're going to make their commission, okay? But once you sit into the finance office, and let's say Roberto is the finance gentleman, how much has Roberto made at that?
Go ahead. Yep.
How much has Roberto made at that point? He hasn't made $1 yet. So the salesperson's already going to make his commission, but Roberto hasn't made anything. So what do you think Roberto's going to do? Somebody just said they're going to want to get a credit application. Okay. And what happens is they, sir, what was your name? David. You don't mind if I use you as an example? Feel free. So David is going to fill out a credit application with the dealership. Okay. And what will happen is Roberto will come back and say, hey, guess what, David? We got you approved. And David's like, well, sure, I've got a great credit score. Of course I'm going to get approved. But what Roberto doesn't tell David is that the rate that he's showing him is 3.9%. And David's like, well, my payments work out to where they're going to be, but the actual rate that from whatever lender that they're using at the dealership actually gave him 2.1%. So that difference in dealer markup is called dealer reserve. So on a $30,000 vehicle, that might mean $1,500 of profit that goes to the dealer's bottom line. And of course, Roberto at the dealer is getting a percentage of that cut for him personally. Okay? So that's what I mean by financing. They are going to try to mark up your rates and get you to finance with one of their lenders. Because why? They need more money that way. Okay? What's the other way a finance person makes their money? What do they sell?
Extras.
Extras. Extras is a good word. But what do you know about the extras? Who else sells them? We do. We do at the credit union. So do you think there's probably some competition between us at the credit union and not just the dealer, but that finance department at the dealership? Well, sure, because we're both competing for you to buy an extended warranty, right? So extended warranties are very lucrative for the dealerships. They make good margins on those. So Roberto makes his money through financing and selling those extras, which we call products, okay? So once again, sales makes commission. Once you agree to buy the car, they make their money. Then Roberto hasn't made anything until he tries to get you to finance with them or buy their products, okay? And believe it or not, if you're the best salesperson in the dealership, where do you think you're eventually going to want to work? Or where do you think the dealership's going to want to put you? In the finance department, okay? I think I've touched on this slide. So any questions on this? And we'll kind of dig deeper as we kind of go through, but it's important to understand sales and finance, okay? So why is car shopping so scary? The average consumer really shops for a car every 2 to 3 years, okay? If I were to ask Roberto what the normal loan is for the credit union, he probably would tell me about 28 to 30 months is the average auto loan on the books. It used to be closer to about 24 months. Any ideas of why it's kind of shifted to 28 to 30? What would you say?
The cars are so much higher.
That's exactly right. So think about it. 10 years ago, the standard car loan was 4 to 5 years. The standard car loan now is 5 to 6, even 7 years. Why? Because consumer income hasn't really increased like the price of cars has. The same Suburban, brand new, 10 to 12 years ago was probably $45,000. That same Suburban today is probably $55,000 to $60,000. So it's not that we don't want to trade in our car just like the norm. It's just that to be in a position to do that, because we're in a Instead of a 4-year loan, we're in that 5 to 6 year loan. So the average consumer shops for a car about every 2 to 3 years, but the standard loans are about 30 months or so, 28 months on our books. Manufacturers have a push distribution system that places incredible pressure on the dealers to sell inventory faster. That pressure's converted to you, inadvertently passed on to you during the shopping process. And it kind of leads me to the, we talked about the dealerships pay salespeople 100% commission, right? If I don't sell anything, I don't make any money, right? So I'm taking pressure from my boss, and then I'm hoping that David buys a car, because if not, I know that, you know what, my boss is going to ask me, well, how come David didn't buy? And I'm under pressure, and I accidentally, inadvertently pass it on to you, okay? Would you say those of you that have purchased a car in the last 5 years, did y'all happen to purchase on the very first dealership you went to? Just curious. I see some yes, some no, but a lot of people know. I would say the norm is more of the no. So that's another reason there's pressure, because they realize that if David leaves the dealership, what are the odds that he actually comes back into the same dealership to buy again? Not likely. So you know what? That sales manager's hammering that salesperson, don't let them leave. Got to sell something now. And that pressure turns to you guys, okay? We talked about the finance department. They're highly incentivized to sell financing and loan products such as warranties. Talked about that. Because of that, they can be very pushy. As I said, if you're a good salesperson, at the end of the day, they're going to put you in finance, okay? What do we know about, when I say front end, does anybody know what that means? Front end. Front end means sales, okay? So the front end is the sales, and the back end is more of the finance, okay? With the invention of the internet, what? Al Gore it started up, 20 years ago or 15 years ago? I say that jokingly there, but really, when you walked in, you didn't know what the price of the car was. You only saw that, and we'll get into the MSRP, but that window sticker. With the invention of the internet, more values are available online. Unfortunately, it's kind of hurt dealers in the sense that their profit margin on the front end or the sales side has been reduced. So even more pressure on that finance guy to maximize profits for the dealership, okay? So that's why they put some of their best salespeople there in the finance office, because yes, they make money selling the cars, but some of the best money or the margin is made in the finance office, okay? And that's kind of what I talked about the last bullet point, kind of skipping around here, but due to intense dealer-to-dealer competition, most dealerships operate on the theory that if a potential buyer leaves, hey, they're not coming back. So even more pressure is passed on to you, okay? So let's talk about car terms here without looking here. MSRP, what does MSRP mean? Manufacturer suggested retail price, which is what? The window sticker, right? So let me ask you this. Should we ever pay window sticker on a new, well, let me back up. How many of you are looking to buy a new car in the next 6 months? So a few of you, okay? So when we walk out to the dealership, or even online, you'll see a price and it has MSRP. Is that the price I want to negotiate on? How come?
It's too high.
It's too high, right? But should I ever expect to pay MSRP? Most likely not, but let me give you an example, okay? David wants to buy a Corvette. Sorry, David, for picking up.
Okay.
All right. But David wants to buy a Corvette, okay? And he wants a yellow one with black leather, and he's wanted that since he was 15 years old. And he's finally in a position that he can afford it and buy it, okay? So he scours the city of Houston, and he finds that exact car at Monday Chevrolet, the only one in the city. And you know what? Not only does David want it, but so does Roberto, so does Chris, and I know that Pauline wants it, okay? So if you're the dealership, and you own it, wouldn't you sell that one Corvette that everybody wants for as much as somebody's willing to pay for it? Sure. So that's really where you're going to pay MSRP, is in short supply models, or if the Malibu is now the new body style and it's only been out 1 month, they're gonna maximize their potential as there's a lot of demand at that time. But traditionally, you're not going to want to pay MSRP. Okay. It should not be the starting point of negotiations on a car deal. And I kind of explained when we would pay MSRP. So you might say, well, Chris, what do I really start at on negotiating a new car? Where would I want to be? So who can tell me what invoice is? Invoice. Exactly. It's basically what the dealer paid the manufacturer for the vehicle. So then let me ask you the question then is, if Roberto's the dealer, okay, and I buy the car, and he sells me the car at invoice, is the dealer still making money on that car? Yes, they are. And we're going to talk about holdback. But yes, the dealer's still making money, even in an invoice deal, theoretically. Okay? But so it's going to bring me to one of the big, for those of you who want to buy a new car. Find out what the invoice is on the car. And I'm going to show you how to do that and for a couple different ways. And really, that should be the starting point. Okay? If you can get below invoice pricing, okay, that's what you're going to be looking for. Okay? If you were just to say, hey, you randomly go to 8 Chevrolet dealers in the city and you want you want pricing on a new Malibu, they would probably quote you several $100s above invoice. Okay? Obviously, the more they get you to pay, the more money they make. But you really want to go in thinking, hey, I want to start an invoice, and you know what? I want to go below invoice because now I want to get into the dealer's money. Okay? So we talked about the dealer does make money, and we want to start the negotiations on invoice. So what is holdback? Okay, holdback is about 2 or 3% of the MSRP of a vehicle. And what happens is that if it's a $30,000 car, let's just say $900 at maybe the end of the month goes back to the dealer from the manufacturer. They pay out. So if and I don't want to make it a math class here, but if I buy that car $500 under invoice, yes, theoretically they're losing money because it's less than what they paid. But at the end of the month, the manufacturer kicks back that holdback money back to them, and they still make money. So you really want to try to get an under invoice and into some of that holdback money. And remember, holdback is 2 to 3% usually of what the MSRP is. Okay. But once again, ultimately it's supply and demand. If they've got 50 Malibus out there, I'm going to try to get below invoice pricing. If they've got 1 or 2, they're going to probably raise the price on that because that's all they've got in their inventory. But holdback, it's an artificial cost that's built into the invoice of the vehicle. The dealer pays the cost up front, but then the manufacturer kicks them back that money. Okay, and once again, 2 to 3% of MSRP. Okay, any questions there? Okay. Tax savings.
I guess I have a question. If you're trying to negotiate, can they be deceitful in telling you this stuff, or is there a way for you to really verify that these numbers?
Good question. So those of you that sat down, you saw like kind of a dealer book or like a rep sheet. Those are all salespeople inside the dealers. Those are the first people we're going to work with. You can always ask any of those salespeople for a copy of the invoice, and they should provide it for you. Okay. They'll also show you online where you can find it as well. Okay. But yes, you would want to kind of ask that, and you can kind of verify that as well. But now tax savings. If you're trading in a car, okay, you get 6.25% tax savings on the car that you trade in. Or better yet, if you buy a car, you're going to pay 6.25% taxes on the car that you buy. Okay. So those of you that might be trading in a $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 vehicle, that's a lot of taxes there. So just keep in mind that you'll get the tax credit. Because the state says you've already paid taxes, you're not going to pay all of it. So so an example is if you receive $5,000 on a trade-in, you purchase a new car for $20,000, you're only required to pay taxes on the difference, which is $15,000 at 6.25% instead of all $20,000 at 6.25%. So ideally, is whatever your trade is worth, you'll get the tax savings of 6.25% of that. Okay. Let's talk about rebates. How many of you watch the Astros or Houston Texans? Raise your hand, just out of curiosity. So a lot of us. When we're watching a football game on Sunday, do we see car commercials? And when you see car commercials, obviously they're advertising their product, but they're also talking about rebates. So rule number 1 really is that to get the best savings on a car comes from the manufacturer, not the individual dealer. Okay, you can get money off with from dealer to dealer in the city, but some of your largest gains or financial benefits come from rebates. Okay, so if you know that, let's say I for sure know that I want to buy a Toyota Camry. Okay, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start going to Toyota.com and I'm going to learn about the rebates. Okay. Rebates also typically tend to be the greatest around holiday seasons. Toyota, you probably heard Toyotathon, or Lexus December to Remember event, or Chevy Truck Month. Okay. That's when rebates are the strongest. So those of you that are looking to buy a new car, maybe a month or 2 months prior, if you know that, start tracking the rebates, especially if you don't know the exact car you want to buy. If you want to buy a small SUV, you might start tracking the rebates, because that difference of $1,000 off a RAV4 or $2,000 off a CRV might be the difference if you go ahead and take that CRV if it's apples to apples for you. So rebates are very important, because that's where you're going to save most of the money. Vehicle incentives that come from the manufacturer on a new vehicle. It can be cash, finance related, or both. Yes, ma'am.
On rebates, a particular part of the season of the year.
Yes, ma'am. So, well, yes. So some 30 days you might get $1,000 rebate, but then maybe in May around Labor Day, they might jump that up to $1,500 or $2,000. So that's what I'm saying, is if you know what you want to buy, I would start tracking those rebates, because that extra $1,000 might just be the ammunition you need to go ahead and pull the trigger on that car loan or on that car. Okay. But it can be cash, finance related, or both. So the manufacturers got very smart. They used to just give cash rebates. Hey, come on in and get $2,000 off the car. Well, now they know that, hey, us at the credit union make money on loans, right? It's such a competitive business. Now they're giving you sometimes $2,000 for the car, and then they'll give you sometimes another $1,000 that you have to finance with the lender of their choice, or the captive lender. So let me explain what happens here. I want each one of you to finance with Harris County with us at the credit union. However, if they give you an additional rebate where you can make some money or get additional money, I'm going to tell you to finance with the dealer lender, okay? However, that rate's likely going to be much higher than we can give you at the credit union. So what you're going to want to do is grab that extra money. As soon as you get your first payment booklet, come back to see us at the credit union, and we'll refinance your loan back to that original rate. So that way you get the best of both worlds.
Say it again now, real fast.
Okay. So the manufacturers usually just give a cash rebate. So if you buy this Impala, we'll give you $2,000. However, they've gotten smart. Hey, we'll give you $2,000, but you know what? We'll actually give you another $1,000, but you've got to finance through us at Ally. Okay? And you're going to say, well, I want that extra $1,000 because it puts the payment exactly where I want. So you apply and you fill it out with Ally, and you get that extra, you get that extra $1,000. But the rate's 7%, and at the credit union we were 2.5% or 3%. So what you do is you come back as soon as you get your first payment booklet. You come back to see us at the credit union, and we refinance your loan back to that 2.5%. But you've gotten all $3,000 of the rebate money. Okay. That's where they get you. So many people go ahead and get that. They go with the dealer, they get that extra $1,000, but they stick with the rate that the dealer gives them, and they never come back. So then they get back through the rate. Right.
And then they upside down.
Right. Exactly. So it's important to know the rebates. So big, but you can put a star on this. If you're buying a new car, the recommendation is learn or familiarize with various dealer rebates and understand how they might affect your upcoming purchase. Okay, rebates are big. Okay, and like I said, usually they're going to be the strongest around holidays or so forth. Yes, ma'am.
On the tax thing, so you get the rebates. Are they included in the, like, where would they fall in the tax?
Well, so let's try to keep it easy. So really the trade-in is completely separate. It doesn't include the rebates. I mean, you'll get the rebate money.
So you're still paying the 6% on the 20, even though you get the rebates at $3,000.
Now I know what you're asking me. I think it's off whatever the drive-out price is what you'll pay the tax on.
17.
Right. 17. Right.
Thank you.
Right. I'm 95% on that. Okay. That's a good question. But yeah, I think it's bottom line. Yes, that's right. Trade it in. So when I say the trade in, if you're not familiar with the dealership structure, what happens is you go in and you go in with the trade in. And I've taught you now kind of to look for invoice and try to get that below invoice price. But at the end of the day, if you have a trade in and they just put some numbers together and it looks like you're paying $1,000 under invoice, you might say, well, that's good. But what they're really doing is they might be withholding money on the trade for you. Okay. So when I say keep this transaction separate, ultimately you have to combine them because you want your tax savings. But what I mean by that is Roberto, when he buys his car, he needs to negotiate his car that he's buying and negotiate the car that he's selling, okay? Or his trade-in, okay? Don't let them just move numbers around and you get lost. Be happy with what they give you for your trade. Be happy with what they're selling the car for, and then combine the purchases, okay? Dealer says may. You can scratch through may and put will. Dealer will offer a low ball figure to get your trade in. If you're not prepared, okay? Whatever amount of dealer offers, it is negotiable usually, okay? Unless it's like a CarMax or something like that. Don't forget, trade-in tax benefit of $10,000 and $625 tax savings on the purchase of a new vehicle. And then I'm going to say, get a no obligation cash offer. And I'm going to actually show you a new tool that we have through our website in just a second. How we doing? Okay, good. F&I department. Don't want to get too muddy here, but let's just keep it simple. Remember, they sell similar products to us at the credit union. They sell warranties, which is called mechanical breakdown insurance. The dealers offer the manufacturer's warranty, typically more expensive. Usually the warranty is much more expensive at the dealership, okay? I'm going to tell each one of you to educate yourself, know the product that we sell here at the credit union, know the product that the dealer is going to sell, and make the financial decision that's best for you. Usually, more often than not, you're going to decide to go ahead and take the warranty from us because it's going to be less expensive and it's going to be very similar to apples to apples, okay? But in the event it is apples to oranges, that's why it's good to know a little bit about both products, okay? But once again, that finance guy gets paid to sell warranties and he makes a ton of money on them. So that warranty he's probably selling to you for $2,800 probably costs the dealership $1,300. Okay, so you can kind of see. Our traditional cost of warranty, Roberto, is how much here at the credit union? What's an average price? So $1,100 or $1,200 here. Okay.
Depending on the car, it depends on the car that is.
Right. But remember, those are big profit centers for the dealerships. So all I say is, definitely get to know both products, make the decision that's best for you. Okay. And more often than not, you're going to come back to see us and get the warranty from us at the credit union. Okay. GAP. Does anybody not know what GAP is? Now, GAP is a product that I'm going to tell you that if you need it, you're always going to want to buy from us at the credit union because GAP is GAP. But GAP stands for Guaranteed Asset Protection. Basically, if David takes that new Corvette, he didn't put any money down. He financed over MSRP, and he happens to have a wrong turn outside the dealer, and he gets smashed. Luckily, David's okay, but the car's not. So when they total that out, because he paid over sticker price, the insurance company may only give him $45,000, but David spent $52,000. So ideally, he's on the hook for $7,000, right? Well, that's where gap insurance comes in. So for about $200, or what's your gap?
$275.
$275, that $7,000 will go away. So it's an insurance product, right? So now, if you're putting 50% down on a car, you don't need gap because you're already going in with an equity position. But if you're rolling in any kind of negative equity, or you may not be putting hardly any money down for that price, I would say take gap. It's a no-brainer, okay? Because you don't want to have to come up with money out of pocket. Should that happen to you? Credit, life, and disability insurance, it's smart to get if you're getting a loan. Credit unions offer some of the most comprehensive insurance packages. And that's where Roberto, when you come in to get pre-approved, we'll go through all of our products with you, okay? So let's talk about, this section here is really important. Let's talk about, we talked about, hey, we want to get invoice, we want to work into, get into that holdback money when we go negotiate a new car. Let's talk about dealer add-ons. Where does everybody start their car shopping these days? Internet. Do you know 9 out of 10 people start their car shopping online these days? So what do you think they do online? Let me show you some of the funny business that car dealers do. Mm-hmm. What do you think they do online? So what does a dealer have to do to be competitive online? They have to what? They have to have low prices. But then they have to have insanely low prices compared to their competitors because you're going to think, I stop here, Monday Chevrolet 18, Norman Freedy 16, but it's the same car. Why is one 16 and one 18? Where do you think you're going to start first? 16. Of course, okay? But let me explain what they do, okay? Dealer add-ons. So you might see an internet price of 16, okay? Let me even back up. Let's say a car has an MSRP of 25, okay? And the internet price is 16, $9,000, okay? Well, there may be a ton of rebates on that car, okay? So when you see 16 online, they include all the rebates. So what they actually do is they sell backwards. And David, you would ask yourself, are you a member of Farm Bureau Insurance? David would say no. Well, now you got to add $750 to that price. Are you retired military? And let's say you're not. And then you'd have to add $1,000 to that price. And then I would say, well, do you currently own a Chevy Tahoe? And say no. Then you got to add another $1,000 to that price. So that same price that's advertised as 16 is really, when he gets to the dealership, 22 or 23,000. Okay, but let's talk about dealer add-ons because it ties into this. Part of that internet price is probably a little asterisk in the small print that's on the bottom that says price does not include dealer add-ons. What dealer add-ons are means, let's just use Honda for example. Honda gets their same. Where do Honda get their cars? They get them from Honda, right? So the Honda dealer gets them all from the same place. But each dealership puts on their own package. We're going to call it the Russell and Smith Advantage package or the John Eagle Thrive package or whatever. But it's usually a combination of wheel locks, splash guards, window tint, whatever is in their package. And it's probably anywhere from $500 to $2,000, okay? And a lot of times the dealers are not going to waive those costs. So you need to know what the dealer add-ons are in that price because once again, the internet price doesn't include the dealer ads. So you could have 16 and 18, but ultimately the 18 might actually be a better price at the end of the day than the 16 winds up being because of some of that funny business that dealers go on. But once again, where are you starting? You're starting at 16. And that's what, and if you've done that, they've done their job. So I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's kind of the game that's played out there, okay? So ultimately, you want the drive-out price. So when you ask a dealer, you want drive-out pricing. So I want to get pricing under invoice. I want to get it, with all the rebates, with all the dealer ads, with the taxes. I want to know what am I paying if I come in there right now, and that's it. No funny business. What's my bottom line? So ask for drive-out pricing. Okay, it will save you a lot of time. And that kind of ties into the second bullet point there. Lowest internet price does not always equal the best drive-out price. And I kind of explained how that's an example. We talked about best time to buy, right? Remember, best time to buy is usually the holiday seasons or close to whatever, like Toyota has, like I said, Toyota-thon in December. Those are when the rebates are the strongest, and when the rebates are the strongest, you usually get your best, your best buying experience. Some might say end of the month, and end of the month could be, but if I'm Monday Chevrolet and I know that if I sell 750 cars, which is my budget from Chevrolet, and it's $749, what's your name, man? And Yolanda's there at Monday Chevrolet looking to buy a car May 31st, and she's $749. Rest assured, they are going to give Yolanda the best deal in the world. But really, it's just it's really when rebates are the strongest. So end of the month could be beneficial, but I think it's more of a myth unless you're right there and you know those numbers. Okay, but there's always a big push at the end of the month to make their numbers look good for that month. Know where the car is at, and I put new. Those of you that are buying a new car, if Roberto's the salesman at the dealership and I walk in, I didn't go online, and I found a Camry, but it's not red, and I really wanted red, and Roberto tells me I can get you one, and I can have it here tomorrow. What he's really saying is, hey, my competitor has the red one, and I'm going to do a dealer trade, and I'm going to bring it over here the next day. But if you could find who actually has the red one, he's not going to want to divulge that information. You could probably get a better deal if you find out the dealer that actually owns that car versus having to do a dealer trade. Now, you might spend 3 hours with Roberto, and you don't want to, doesn't matter to you, but usually rule of thumb is if you can find the car and actually who owns it, you'll probably get a better deal than whether he has to trade for it, okay? Certified pre-owned. How many of you heard this term, certified pre-owned? Well, a lot of people, right? And it also sounds very, very safe. If we're going to buy pre-owned, we've got to buy certified pre-owned. So don't take me the wrong way. I'm not saying don't buy certified pre-owned. What I'm saying is the dealers use that term because consumers like it. And they usually might do a little extra stuff, and they give it usually 1 year warranty additional. 1 year or 12,000 miles. So what I'm saying is, let me give you an example. A Camry that's not certified versus a Camry that is might be a difference of $2,000. On the certified one, really all you're getting is an extra 1 year warranty. Roberto just says he can sell you a warranty here at the credit union for $1,200. So it may be beneficial for you. I'm saying if it's apples to apples. Look at this one. If everything checks out well, you might want to buy the one that's non-certified because you can, for $1,200, I can get a 5-year warranty and an extra 60,000 miles, give or take. I'm just throwing some numbers out there. And still have money in my pocket versus buying a certified one that only has that 1-year warranty. So my point is don't overpay just because it's a certified pre-owned car, okay? Just be careful not to overpay. Carfax, we do have anybody not familiar with Carfax? Carfax is a vehicle history report, and we have those available on all the cars that we have to show. So preparing for your next auto purchase with Harris County and Member Auto Center at your side. So I said how to shop for a car and negotiate. Get pre-approved first, right? We talked about the finance guys and how they make their money, and they're going to ask you for that credit application. You know what? Also, identity theft. If you've ever been to a dealer, they've got papers everywhere, okay? Make it easy. You bank with us already. Go ahead and get pre-approved before you go to the dealership. That way, you know what? You can skip a lot of the hassle that's within the finance office. You're comfortable with us? So before you go to the dealerships, I'm going to recommend you strongly, go ahead and talk with us. Get all the warranty information, get your gap information, but get pre-approved with us first, okay? And you can do it all online, okay? Find a car and submit a no obligation price quote request. Do we have that here? Okay. So I'm going to actually show you how to use our car shopping tool, and then of course complete your loan. A lot of times we would prefer, we want you to bring it back in house. And do it here. And your loan officers would go through that with you, okay? Member Auto Center. So once again, what is Member Auto Center? I said we're credit union owned, but it's a free car buying service that offers help for credit union members that are looking for a new used car, truck, or SUV. Yolanda said 9 out of 10, or I said 9, she says internet, everybody shops online. That's the truth. 9 out of 10 people shop online. So it says 85%, but I think it's closer to about 90% now. So I don't want to get too muddy here with this. I'd actually like to just show you the website.
The problem with that is that our online streamers will not be able to see that.
Okay.
So we can use this though.
So when you get home this evening, under the resources tab under Harris County, under our website, you'll see one that says Member Auto Center or CU Member Auto Center. That's where basically you can shop for a car. You can do a one-stop shop. You can get pre-approved, you can shop for a car, and when you see a car you like and you click on it, it's going to give you a dealer's name, and it's going to give you a representative of each dealership. What we've done, and I'll give you an analogy. I put wood flooring in my home about 2 years ago, and I really didn't know much about wood flooring. So when I walked into Home Depot and different places, I had to just basically take in a whole bunch of information from this guy, this person, and after about 2 or 3 weeks of talking to various different people, I finally had an idea of what I was doing. Think of it as we kind of just took that one person, the wealth of all knowledge, and put it available for you inside the car world. So we've taken probably the best sales guy at each dealership, okay, and put them available to you. His contact information is there, phone and email. The dealers, just so you know, they pay us an advertising fee because y'all are all about to buy a car, right? Get pre-approved, go buy a car. The dealers advertise with us. So what they do is, because they pay a fee to advertise, they're going to want to put their best salesperson or one of their best salespeople to handle your business, okay? A lot of these salespeople, they get straight to the point. They don't want to do all the runaround. They want to give you a price, they want to get you in, and they want to get you out. And I know that's what you're looking for. So whatever dealership you choose, I strongly recommend work with the representatives that we put forth for you. Like I said, many of them are 15 and 20-year car guys. Yes, ma'am. I have one book, but we do have some in the lobby.
We have some in the lobby. We'll make sure to get some for you.
But the list is also online. So
yes.
when you go online under that resources tab, this is what it's going to look like. Okay. We have loan calculators. The application is here under financing. We have the used car search, new car search. We have the live email, phone, and chat assistance here. And we have the NADA, which is vehicle values. and the preferred dealer listing is right here. And the preferred dealer listing that you see matches what's online. So remember, we partnered with the salespeople inside the dealership, the ones that are going to give you the good pricing. Okay, so it's a really neat tool, and like I said, there's about 50,000 cars that run through there between new and used. Okay. One of the things that we just talked about is that we just started is a sell your car option. Okay, we've partnered with the largest wholesaler in the Southeast United States. Okay, so let me explain how neat this is. If you have a trade-in or you're interested in selling your current vehicle, okay, all you have to do is on the website when you get there this evening, you'll see this sell us your car. If you click on that, it will open up a box. You'll put the VIN number of your current car, okay? You'll put the mileage of your car. And then once you do that and hit go, another box will pull in. You'll need to put your name so they can contact you. Within about an hour, one of the appraisers will call you back, and he'll probably have some questions for you. You'll also need to upload a couple pictures. If you've already been to CarMax, okay, CarMax is one of those stores that will give you a cash offer for your car. Upload your offer, and they will beat CarMax's offer, or they will pay you $100. Okay, is their slogan. Here's the neat thing: within the hour they will email you an offer, and if you want that offer, they come to you. They will pick up the car in your driveway, at your place of business, or wherever. Okay, so we actually have a full-fledged get a real offer for your car also through the Harris County website. So just from the website, once again, a one-stop shop. We can apply for a loan, we can shop for a car, and we can also get a cash offer for our current vehicle. Okay, if you're just trying to get an idea, yes, ma'am. Oh,
No, that slide is not inside the printed copies.
But if you have any questions about it, feel free to email Pauline. I think my contact information is in the back. You can email me. But we do have that as an offer tool for you. If you just really want an idea, we want to be courteous of our vendors' time. So the NADA right here is vehicle value. Yeah. So the sell your car feature is not in the
Printed
program,
text.
but it is available when you go online. You'll see it. Okay. So any questions about the sell your car feature? It's really neat. So you don't even have to leave your house to get a full-fledged cash offer for your vehicle. Okay?
So you sing your jingle course real quick.
What's that? Oh, yeah, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. I'll just to add some humor, but their slogan is so easy you can do it from your underwear. Because you don't have to leave your house. Remember coupon incentives. So in those big, nice, pretty directories that you have, that has you'll notice that under each advertisement, there are some dealer coupons, okay? To make the coupons validated, make sure to ask for the representative that we have in place, okay? Because some other representatives, if you don't go in and ask for the right person, may not know anything about it. I think there's a few gift cards in there, oil changes, and so forth. So it's just a perk for being one of our members, okay?
As well as keep in mind that some of them do have expiration dates. So that's also something to keep in mind when you're looking for that coupon and you see something you like, just double check that it hasn't expired yet.
So member auto center and review are basically our whole first part. Designated dealer representatives will offer better pricing and they'll reduce the hassle. So and we provided those individuals up front for you. Also on the website, there is a new car builder. Okay, so there's a search and you'll see a one that says a tab that says new car builder. If you go out and build a new car, it will show you MSRP and invoice. So I told you there was two ways to get invoice. You can ask our reps; they'll be glad they give it to you, or you can use our builder online and it will give you the invoice pricing. Okay, but at your fingertips through our website, you can browse thousands of cars. You can get a no obligation. It's all free. You can apply for a quote. If you don't like the quote, it doesn't cost you anything. We showed you how you can get an offer for your current car through the sell your car feature. We have the Carfax histories on any of the used cars that you search for, and then of course sell your car with no hassle. So that's my portion. I know Pauline's going to talk more about the credit and finance side now with us internally. But is there any questions for me before I turn it over to Pauline? Yes, ma'am.
If you already bought a car sometime and before you want to resell it,
is there any way you can use your VIN number to find out what was the manufacturer price at the time what the thing was?
That's a good question. You might be able to go online and maybe type that in, and it probably will give you some kind of consumer reports that would show what that was MSRP for during that current model year. You'd have to probably go into Google and just type it in. It would probably be something like consumer reports or car, I don't really know the exact site, but I would assume that there's several different third parties that would probably give you that information. But yeah, you would be able to find that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any Apple warranties that that would be a decision we made at the time. Like you would be able to change that after. Like you said, we can refinance a month later with the credit union if we get a better deal, but the gap in that would have to be made already.
Roberta, you might answer that one.
Right, if you finance in the loan with us, you can only get the gap with them, whoever you finance with. Warranties, you can always purchase it.
Warranties are proratable. So let's say you decide to purchase a warranty up front and a year, whatever, you can always, or you sell that car, when you cancel warranty, as long as it's still under the coverage, you do get some of that money prorated back to you. Other than that, Pauline's going to talk about credit. I want to thank you, and hopefully y'all learned a thing or two. Like I said, I strongly advise you to play around with our car shopping website. I think you'll really enjoy it, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris. All right, again, my name is Pauline, and I'll take over the conversation. We'll breeze through this. I don't want to take us in too late, but it's a few things with which HCFCU can do for you, as well as what we offer within our auto loans. One of the things that our members are not aware of is we actually offer discounts on our already low rates every day of the year. That's through different things that we have set up in place with our loan department prior to. Most members were not made aware of that. We're recently, and starting that now, making members fully aware of the ways that you can actually reduce the rate. So when you see those as low as rates, you can actually figure out how we get there. And this is some of the ways that we currently offer to get your interest rate lower. A credit score of 680 or above will actually get you a discount on your interest rate, as well as a down payment, 10 to 20%. We're not asking for a whole lot, but if you want to make, you have, say, bad credit, and you don't want to pay a really outrageous interest rate, and you're going to purchase, but not sometime in the next 6 months, maybe a year, you can start figuring out what that 10 to 20% would be and save that up. And then you can put that down. The other way that actually helps you out is it helps you out on your monthly payment. That's where you'll see most dealerships or other lenders ask for a down payment, because not only is it helping you in the amount that you finance, but also in your monthly payment. It's keeping your debt to income ratio low, which is the main factor of whether or not somebody may approve a loan or deny a loan. And so with that comes shorter terms. Most of the interest rates are quoted at a 5-year term. And so anything that's extremely low is because most likely it has a lesser term than 5 years. 36 months, for example, with us can actually help reduce that rate as well as your relationship with the credit union. This is something actually new within the last couple of years that we've offered our members. You can get up to 0.30 off of the interest rates, no matter, even after everything else, your credit score, your down payment, and a shorter loan term. On top of that, you can additionally get this as well, but it's up to 0.3. And there's about 4 or 5 different ways. And I think we'll go into that here about how that works. Let me double check that. If not, I will tell you that now. Yeah, let me go ahead and tell you those lovely ways. So with the CU relationships, if you have a HCFCU credit card, you can get 0.15 off. If you opt in for Credit Life, which Credit Life is if you were to get a car loan and you lose your life in between here and there, your family doesn't have to worry about that car loan. The car loan is paid off and your family gets to keep the car. And that's one of the greatest gifts you can probably give them. Other than that, your state's taking debt, and then they don't know what to do with it at that point.
What's the normal rate on that? What's the normal cost?
So far on the credit life and credit disability is another way that can also do it. It's like $2 or $3 more on your loan payment. So if you can afford the $2 or $3, maybe even $5 more on your loan payment, then it's well worth it to get it. Because credit disability, if you get hurt or injured and you can't work, you're out of your job, you're not getting any disability payments, who's making your car payments? That credit disability will. They will pay your car payments in order to, until you get better and you're back to work and you're back on your feet. So those are payment protection plans to help you should something unexpected happen. And so far, we have our loan quoter on our website. And it actually includes the credit life and credit disability. And most of the things that I've seen is like $2 to $5. It just depends.
It's kind of depends on the loan amount.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not a whole lot, but sometimes when people are like, oh, you want to raise my payments? Oh, I can't do that. But they don't really see the benefit in that extra of what could happen, because we really don't know what will happen tomorrow or in the next few hours. And so it's kind of that unexpectancy. It's well worth the insurance in that sense. The other ways with relationship, having a checking account, a savings account with direct deposit and e-statements. Some of y'all probably have a majority of that, maybe minus the checking account. That's usually a situation. Doesn't take but $5 to open up a checking account, and you get another 0.15 off of your auto interest rate. And again, all of these, there's 4 different ways: the credit life, credit disability, credit card, and just having checking and savings with us. Of those 4, you can choose 2 of them in order to get you the 0.30 off of your rate. Let's see.
How much off did you say?
0.30. And so your interest rate is determined by many factors as listed above. The loan terms can increase. So if you get a loan longer than 5 years, you can actually increase your interest rate. So keep that in mind. If you're looking to have a low payment, that's usually what people do, is like, oh, well, I'll just take a 5.5 or 6 year, 7 year loan so that I reduce my loan payment. Well, don't do that, because then you can increase your interest rate. And your interest rate is going to cost you more money in the long term. So definitely not something you want to do whenever you're looking towards a loan. 5 years max. Keep that kind of mindset when it comes to an auto loan in particular. And then older vehicles can also actually increase your rate. So if you're looking to buy in 2017, look at a 2016, look at a 2015. Try not to go anything beyond that, because that will actually increase the interest rate on your auto loan. If you are looking for an older vehicle, say $5,000 to $10,000, and your credit's horrible and you don't want to put any kind of money down or anything like that, you also have signature loans up to $15,000. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an auto loan. Auto loan is going to be your better interest rate versus a signature loan. But if it's a push comes to shove, there's always other options here with the credit union. So definitely keep that in mind. But overall, a credit score ultimately determines where your interest rate is starting. So your credit score will determine where you start, but definitely not where you finish. With where you would like to be, definitely get your credit there. Keep that in mind before you go in and apply. Know that that's something that you need to prepare yourself for. So with that in mind, increase your score by paying down high balances on revolving credit cards, as well as removing any false information or incorrect information on your credit report. As soon as check it, freeannualcreditreport.com, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, all of those places can give you your credit report. And if you notice any inconsistencies on there, take it off, because if it's hurting you, it's definitely not something you want on there, even more so if it's not yours. You want to make sure that you're reporting it and getting off of your credit. And the other aspect to increase your score is to make sure that your payments are made on time, as well as you pay more than the minimum. Because every month you have interest that's accrued, your minimum payment isn't even putting a dent in just the interest that is incurring. So if you make more than that, you ensure that some is going to that principal, and that principal is getting moved down. So to the creditors and to the credit reporting agencies, it looks like you're actually moving that level down. As small as it may be, it's still moving it down versus paying a minimum payment. And sometimes that just takes budgeting and figuring out, okay, well, this pay period, I'm going to put X on this credit card or on this loan payment, and shuffling through the list of whatever you may owe. And if your score is where it's at and it's not budging, like there's no way that you're going to move your credit score any which way. You've tried, you have no extra money to move, or there's something else. Definitely try working to plan ahead. So keep it in mind that this is where your credit score is. Come and talk hypotheticals with our loan officers. Say, hey, I've got about a 580, 590. What am I looking at? And so that you can prepare yourself to make a 5% or even a 10% down payment on that loan, so that you can get something reduced, as well as opening up a checking account, or maybe talking about, okay, well, what would my loan payments look like? Could I afford X? And our loan officer will be glad to help you with that and walk you through it, and as well as prepare for that. It's not unheard of to prepare for 6 months to a year out for an auto purchase. It's actually one of the best ways you can go. Most people be like, no, I'm buying a car next week and I have to have this Jeep because it's there and it's only one. It's not the best way to go unless you literally have that 720 credit score and you can walk in there and be like, I'm not putting anything down and my credit's excellent and I know I can afford X amount in payments. So you're going to give me that car. So not everybody's that way. Not everybody can do that. And so the best way to do that is to prepare for it. And one thing with us is that with the credit union, we actually look for additional ways that you can save on your loans. We don't want you to pay tons of interest. We don't want you to be put in a bind. You're not going to find that at a normal bank, and you're definitely not going to find that at the dealership. Dealership just cares that you closed and you're on your way out with the car. So relationship pricing is one of those ways that we do offer for members. Pre-approval is your best friend. We try to harp with our members on that. You go ahead and start now, get a pre-approval, find out where you're at today, how much you could get. And so if you're dreaming of this $40,000, $50,000 car, but today, and you're still trying to buy it in 6 months, is your credit going to be there in 6 months? Is your debt to income ratio going to be there in 6 months? Or is anything significantly going to change to make that happen if today you can barely get a $30,000 car? So make sure that whatever it is you're dreaming of is realistic by getting a pre-approval. Because at that point, we run your credit. We tell you how much you can get, what kind of car payments you're looking at. If you add this or if you add that onto it, what's going to be, what your total cost is going to be. And then you get to walk to the dealership knowing I can buy a $30,000 car and I don't have to worry about anything because my credit union already has me taken care of. And you go in there and you're like, I want this one and it's within my price range. I'm not going to tell you what my price range is, but I want to know what your bottom line is going to be because my credit union's got me. I got a great rate and I've got money in my pocket. So if you want to sell this car, let me know what you can do for me. And that's when you're going to see a salesperson really change and really cringe because you, to them, know what you're talking about. You are there prepared. And most of them be like, oh, well, what's that amount? How much how much can we do? No. I need to know what you can do for me because you want the sale. I want the car. So how are we meeting in the middle? And even more so with that pre-approval, it is exactly that. It's like a check in your pocketbook because you know. And as long as we have negotiated as far as like loan officer and you on when you're looking to buy, as well as what kind of you're looking for, those things can be worked out. Most pre-approvals are good for 30 days. I've had some of the loan officers, just because stuff has happened and we've talked to them, we talked to the member, we've extended them out. Another aspect is inquiries on your credit report. When we pull it for the pre-approval, that credit report number and information is good for 6 months unless there is something that we feel may have happened in between there or you've told us something's happened in between there. And so thus you've got ultimately 6 months knowing that we're going to be good and we're going to be set and that we're willing to work with you on that pre-approval, especially if I've already got it in the books for you. Because in the same token of it being in your pocket, it's in our pocket as well. We know that you're set. And so we're just kind of waiting for you to tell us where's the car and which one you're getting and who to send the check to. So one thing to know as well with this and credit inquiries is don't let the dealer talk you into applying with them. If you've got a pre-approval with us and we've pulled your credit, That's one inquiry. That's going to move your credit score down a couple of points. But when you go to that dealer and we're just gonna put it in our system and we can get you a better rate. Really, you can get me better than 2%, because unless it's 0, I don't know where you're helping me here, or even 3 or 5% for that matter. They're going to put it in a system and they're going to shoot it out to about 4 or 5 different people. And then you're going to see about 6 or 7 inquiries on your report. And there may be one person who might do it because you've got bad credit, and they're going to give you a 15 to 16% interest rate, if not higher. I think we've seen some at 18. And they're like, well, that's the best we can do because you have that. No, I already told you I had bad credit. I already told you I was pre-approved. And that's when our member gets really upset because the dealer didn't listen to them. So it's definitely that situation where don't let them talk you into it. Don't fall for their antics unless they can really, unless it's 0%. We're not going to tell a member no to 0%. So if they can give you 0%, take the 0% because you're not getting anything charged. But make sure it's a 0% for the term of the loan, not 0% for 6 months or 0% for the first year or anything of that nature either. Just give it a once over as well. Even if you're not going to finance with us, our loan officers are willing to take a look at your invoicing, that final bottom line pricing, because they're going to charge you for tint. They're going to charge you for the license plate holder and the nice little cup holder they put in there. Whatever it may be, the dealer is looking to make whatever pennies they can. So unless you're 100% sure that they can beat the rate that we've given you, definitely talk to us first. Double check that we can't give you a better rate. Because sometimes that may be the situation. We didn't see something when we first applied, something wasn't mentioned, or one way or another, because that is the case. Some members will leave here with a 5%. In reality, they could have had 4.7 or 4.5. So it just happens sometimes depending on the conversations or how the member applied, as well as what's going on at the time. In May, we do have our auto loan promotion coming up. And so that is definitely one of the bigger benefits. But wanted to let you know of all the ways that you don't have to come downtown and apply for your loan. We do offer the convenience of applying for your loan online. We also now offer the convenience of signing for your loan while you're on the go with eSign. We'll email you your closing documents, and you'll open that document and you'll put your signature on there, either with a touchpad or a tablet or your mouse. And then you send it back to us securely, and we're closed, we're good. The dealer gets their money and you get to drive away with your car. eSign doesn't work for all things. I know, like certain refinances, title issues.
Refinances, third-party sales.
Okay, so third parties, meaning if you go to the dealer before you've come to us and you've gone to the dealer and said, oh, I have a credit union, I want to go through them. The dealer funnels it through us, and then it's financed that way. So it's, again, better to get pre-approved with us. And so that way, you know, good and sure that what you have is what you have, and then you can sign from the convenience of your cell phone while you're on vacation. The other is e-services. You can actually pay for your auto loan or any HCFCU loan with an outside banking with our ePay. And then, of course, to offer members peace of mind, we offer the gap insurance, extended warranties, credit life, and credit disability insurance at lower rates than other banks or dealerships. For example, we had discussed regarding gap insurance. We quoted at $400, and I had told a friend of mine, hey, he was getting a car, make sure your gap insurance, they don't charge you extremely too much, because that dealer may only have to pay $300-400 for it, and they're going to try and charge you $1,200. You really wanted the vehicle, they charged him $1,200 for gap insurance when they probably paid $300 for it, and he could have came here and got it for $400 kind of thing. But because he didn't know and wasn't unsure, you have to look at every little line that's on that item. They have to, and try to make, the finance people want to make their money. And so again, we offer members competitive rates. Our loan rates are really low. We're actually on par with a lot of other credit unions. A credit union is going to be lower than a bank because a bank is looking to make money and a credit union is looking to serve their members, as well as dealers and all of that. But we can't compete with zero. And so that's why I say if you get a 0%, then you most likely, as long as it looks legit and it's for the full term of the loan, go ahead and take it because you're not paying any interest. But definitely get with your loan officer so that they can tell you hey, this looks good. You should do this. This is going to be your best rate. Because again, credit union is going to actually tell you that versus a bank where they want it to stay with them. So here's the other way that you're going to get extra money off of your interest rate and on your loan. For attending tonight, we're going to give you 0.25 off if you close on an auto loan between May and June 15th with us. So just for attending tonight. The other aspect, 0.25 between May 1st and June 15th. So not only do you get the 0.25, you can get the 0.30. And then if you put a down payment and your credit score, you can get up to another, overall, you can get up to a full point off of any interest rates. Because the other aspect is this lovely little website. This website right here will take you to our Financial Education Center. And on the next slide, I'll show you what that is. On this website, it's going to take some of your information. It's going to ask you where you were referred from. Let it know the seminar was your referral. And with that, this is in the printed copy as well, the slides, so you don't have to write it down. But this is what the Financial Education Center is. This is not rolled out yet to everyone. We're controlling the release of our Financial Education Center. It's going to take place of where you currently go now to sign up for members registration and stuff like that, because we're offering online education. So our online education center is something else that has not been rolled out to everybody. So this is on our website, but not on our website. Does that make sense? If you search for it, you can find it. The page is live. You can click on it. You can find it. But if it's not in a drop-down menu, it's not easily accessible. And so nobody else knows about it. This right here has the link to our online education center as well as knowledge and quizzes. The quizzes are not yet open. I'm actually going to open them later today, if not tomorrow. But if you click on this link here, this link's going to take you to our online education center. And this is something new that we're offering members as well. Coming in the future months and things like that, moving over, we'll have more incentive programs. So here's the other way. You can get an additional 0.25 off your interest rate. You come on here and you take the auto loans, you take the budgeting, and you take the credit report and credit score classes. It takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to watch them. Then you go on to the Financial Education Center site and you take the quizzes. Quizzes you only have to pass with an 80. You can keep taking them until you do. But they're really simple because I did not want to strain my brain in making those quizzes. I had to make a lot of them. So you take those. When you register on that website, I get your information so I know that you've registered. When you pass those quizzes, I get your information so I know that you've passed or failed. And I also get every notification for every time you have to take it. And that's okay. That's fine. Take it as many times as you need to in order to get what you need. But doing that will get you an additional 0.25 off your auto loan as long as it's completed by time you close or before June 15th. Okay, so if you're looking to buy between May 1st and June 15th, that's the idea. We will be offering in the latter of this, after all of the incentives are done, we will be offering the same offer just at a lower discount rate. Okay, because we do want our members to be educated when it comes to car buying and all that lovely stuff. So you can go through now and you can complete all of it, and you can complete. There's 12 modules that are on the site for different things. You can complete all 12 of them and take all 12 quizzes. I think there's like 10 quizzes if you want. And then whatever incentives comes up, you'll be like, oh, I already done that. I'm good. And we put your name on a list for all of our loan officers and stuff like that. Yes, ma'am.
You said auto loan, what's the other two?
Auto loans, budgeting, and credit score and credit reports is one in general. Let me double check that. I do have these flyers. You want to? Yeah, you can give them this. This has the website on the back end of where it is, and on there you can check off auto loans, budgeting, and credit score modules, and that kind of be like a little reminder as far as which ones to take. Yes, ma'am.
Is it 25% off if you buy between May and June and 25% off if you do these quizzes, or it's just 25 either way?
It's both. So
So-
essentially for the financial education, for being here tonight, as well as doing the online, we're gonna give you a half point off or half basis points off your interest rate. Because I'll have your name on a list and it'll say 0.25 or it'll say 0.50, and that's just one of the additional discounts that you can get, but you would have to buy between May 1st and June 15th. So anybody who's watching on our live stream will have to do the same things. The only difference is because the live stream will be uploaded afterwards, they will actually have to make a comment on the YouTube video. And I think those are next, maybe. Did I add that in here? I did not add those in here. So the idea would be that on our live stream, they need a comment on the comment thread with the first car they have purchased or what they had. Just don't mention the discounts or the promotions or any mention of requiring it, so that anyone who's watching it to the end of our session will not get any idea. They'll just think they're participating in the online seminar, because after it's uploaded, essentially anyone can go over there and play it. So you can tell your coworkers, you can give them this, tell them to mention your name for the referrals. We will be doing something of that nature as well, offering additional incentives and certain things for members who refer additional people to the financial education, because we are using the promo codes, we're using the website, we're using those things to track and see, analytically speaking, I will be able to see who's doing what and where they're doing it and where is it coming from.
Seminar with promo code for this.
You don't have to do the promo code. If you go to this website that's here, you put seminar in the referral aspect. And so the other thing from what I want from our online stream is for them to mention, let me double check this. Want them to mention the current interest rate that they're paying on any auto loan that they've had in the last year. And so if you refer anybody and say, hey, you didn't make it to the auto loan seminar, go watch the YouTube live stream. They'll have to listen to what I'm saying at this point in time and make those comments on there. And when they make those comments on there, that's how I can confirm that they've listened or attended to it. And so any other questions regarding anything or the incentives that we're offering?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Once you get pre-approved here,
Mhm.
and you go out, you find the deal that you want, you contact one of these guys on the list,
Mhm.
they give you, the price you agree with. How is that transaction made? We want to make a down payment on the vehicle.
You'll make it with us.
You make a down payment with you. So we'll just tell the dealership, okay, we're gonna buy this car. We'll come here, make the down payment with you, and then you all will just send the paperwork and deal with it there. So we don't.
You really don't have to deal with it. We need the dealer to send their final bottom line invoicing to us.
Okay.
And when they do that, if it's, say it's a little bit over, like you've been approved for 25, but it's about 26, 27, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to make that extra down as a down payment. Okay, cool. No problems. Then we're good. You make that down payment. It gets reflected on the total loan amount. The dealer gets X amount, whatever that invoicing may be in that bottom
How do
line.
you know what to get pre-approved for? You're looking for a particular car. Just say we're looking for a Honda Civic. We don't know what we need to get pre-approved for.
Member Auto Center will show you a bunch of numbers. So the idea behind that is that whatever those numbers they show you, try and get that amount, because you want to negotiate below that amount. Plus tax, title, and license and all those extras, it's going to end up being more than whatever that advertised amount is. So I think pre-approvals really come down to debt to income ratio as far as the largest amount of loan that you can get, because that's something you can do. Be like, okay, what's the largest amount of loan I'll be able to get? And then go from there. Say, okay, I can afford this, this, and this, and this now. So that would be the recommended way. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said once you all get it pre-approved, you have 6 months after that?
You have 30 days, ideally, to find it. We do have our loan officers extend them to 60 to 90 days. But it's the 6 months on the credit score that we look at. So if you come in January and apply for get pre-approved, ideally you close on your auto before March. But in March, when you do come in to close on your auto, you're like, you know what, can I get a credit card? Let me get a credit card so I can get a reduction in my interest rate. And so we'll take that credit score as long as nothing else has changed, and either you're approved or denied based on that, as well as your debt to income ratio on a credit card. And then that gives you the additional interest rate reduction as well. So that's kind of where the 6 months in regards to your credit score would matter.
Okay, because I had already been pre-approved, and it had been like maybe a month or two. I just hadn't found what I wanted, but I didn't know until you just said that we had a certain time. So I thought I had time.
Yeah.
It's just not that easy to go and just say, I see this car right here, and then, you know, like they said earlier, you'll be online shopping and you know, okay, that's what I really
and just really call your loan officer, talk to them. They're like, oh, okay, I'm busy and I've had this and I've had that come up, or whatever it may be. Most of the loan officers are really willing to work with you as well, especially if you've been pre-approved. For us, you're good, you're golden. We want your loan. You've gone through the hard work already. And so thus it's just a matter of coming back to us. And as long as we feel that nothing major has changed in between here and there, like you bought and purchased a different vehicle, or you've added several signature loans or other kind of loans onto your credit, if there's for some reason a belief that your debt to income ratio isn't the same, then that would matter on a pre-approval, because we want to make sure that pre-approval that you can afford those payments. And so we don't want your debt to income ratio to be over a certain amount. Yes. Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I heard you say that the credit unions rates are really low. What are the highest rates that you probably?
I've seen rates 9 and 10%. You see anything higher than that? And I guess in auto loans, not even signature loans. Yeah, just auto loans. Yeah, that's about as high as I've seen them. Most average 4 to 5%.
Usually it's 12 and 16%.
Exactly. And most of those are. Yeah, exactly. Most of them are starting out, and that's it. There is no kind of relationship pricing or anything of that nature. So these are 4 and 5%, and our advertised as low as rate is 1.74. That does not include the relationship pricing. That does not include the discount I just said. And for everything with that 1.74, that's a 36 term, that's a brand new vehicle, that's 20% down, and that's a 720 credit score.
A 720 credit score?
Yes, ma'am. And those are all basic, everyday discounts that we offer to our members. And so those don't include these special promotions like the educational stuff, as well as the relationship pricing. So that's still another 0.30 off of that 0.74.
Because this credit score, it's below 720.
So that's why we said 680. Or 680 starts our discounts for credit scores. So if your score is at 681, then you're golden. But that doesn't mean we don't approve credit scores lower than that. There are 580s that come in and get approved. So exactly. We literally have what we call 4 different levels, and level 4 is everybody else. So we want to look at everything. We want to make sure we're seeing the whole picture. Maybe you've got some other stuff with us as well. Maybe you had a small signature loan with us and you've had it for 3 or 4 years, and you've paid on time every time. You've increased it, decreased it. So that gives us a whole different perspective than what your credit score is going to give us, because you're with us already and we know you're good for it, as well as signing up for payroll deduction. That's the biggest part of us, is you get that payroll deduction. You never have to see your car payment. It comes out of your paycheck and you can literally forget about it. Just unless you quit the county, don't forget about it, because then that stops. But otherwise.
So what for Cali? What if you're work for Cali? I guess you still, whether you're retired or not, as long as your money goes to that account.
Yes, you can also get it deducted from your share or checking account from us. So if you have a direct deposit that goes and that's where your payment's coming from, then you never have to worry about anything either. So definitely keep that in mind. If you do retire it as well, leaving the county, you just make sure that your retirement check comes to your credit union account here, and then you're set. And yes, ma'am.
The May auto promotion that you talked about, does that take even more off of what you've talked about already?
The May auto promotion is exactly that, is our 0.50 off with the educational requirements. The other aspect that we're giving this May is our loan officers the authority to really evaluate the loans in the interest rate terms. So if you find a competitive rate from somewhere else, and that's just a bottom line competitive rate, no extra discounts, no promotionals or anything like that, that's lower than ours. It gives the loan officer the opportunity to actually evaluate that and make the authority call to our VP and find out if we can compete with that, because we do offer competitive pricing. We can match to an extent, but we can't match with other discounts and other promos and other things. We want those hard bottom line interest rates.
Are you matching with the car dealership or any other bank or credit union?
Banks, credit unions, dealerships is my understanding. Is that right? And again, we can't compete with zero, but we do, for the most part. As far as me being in marketing, I've looked up a lot of other credit unions. We can't compete with the really big ones, but for the most part, we're on par with everybody else. Shell, TDCU, all the other credit unions. And your credit unions are going to be lower than your banks automatically out the door, no matter who you go to. So the dealers, the only way that we can't compete with them is the zero. Dealers are going to be able to do that because the manufacturer's essentially helping them get that cost. So that's the other aspect. For the most part, we do beat dealers as well. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
And if you already have a car loan with the Harris County Credit Union, can we see about getting that lower?
You cannot refinance your own HCFCU auto loans with us. Unfortunately, we can't do that because I don't know why, but it doesn't, because it's kind of, we're already underwriting it essentially. So it's kind of that paperwork set in stone. But if you were to go elsewhere and find a lower rate, that's the option is always do that. Look for, if you can lower your rate, look to lower your rate. If it's not with us, with a different credit union, because a credit union is going to be able to offer you the best rate. But if you do have an auto loan elsewhere, we do refinancing. So if you're paying an upward of 9% and above, definitely check with us on refinancing. Talk to your loan officer, see what kind of options are available. Because if you're paying a whole lot in interest, you're paying a whole lot on a monthly payment to nothing. It's going nowhere. It's not going in the car that you have. So definitely keep that in mind as well.
What do you need to bring to your loan officer? The advance of payment form or?
That would be a Roberto question.
Sorry, what was it?
For refinance?
What do you need to bring to it? Refinance?
Well, we just have to know what your balance is.
So bring the last,
Your
check
last
stub
statement.
and
Your last
statement.
statement. It's just the statement.
So with your current, I guess the best way would be to get with your current lender and get a payoff quote. Payoff quotes are usually good for about 30 days. And that payoff quote, bring that to us so that we know, because it may fluctuate on a daily basis, but for the most part, that's gonna give us the best idea of where you're at and then what the value is on that vehicle. Any other questions or concerns? Nope. Okay, that's all we have for you guys. We're done. So I have 2 gift cards that were provided by Member Auto Center. And the way I'm going to do this is, this one's $25 General Visa gift card, and this is a $25 Shell gift card. So I'm going to ask and raise your hand in order to answer. What is the credit score that we look for? Yes, ma'am. So which one do you want? Shell or Visa? Visa? Okay, so for the other gift card, the first person that's attended tonight to actually go on to our online education center and register, because I see those registrations. The first person that's here to register will get this $25 Shell gift card. okay? So as soon as I see that, it has your email attached to it, I'll email you, let you know. It does have it timestamped of who's registered when, so if all of y'all are literally like right now on the phone, it does have a timestamp on there, and so I will know, I will email you and let you know you want. Thank you guys for attending. Make sure to, there's a trash can right outside. Tickets also exit on the LaBranch side, so we can cover and make sure that you're covered under part two.
Okay, so
We're gonna stamp the cards. Mike?
Yeah, we'll stamp the cards. Also, make sure that you exit on the left side and let them know you're here with the credit union seminar.
It's not so much dealerships, so remember 0% comes from the manufacturer. So, sorry.